85% of employees worldwide admit to hating their jobs, with lack of freedom being the top complaint. And you are probably one of those people, just like I was, living paycheck to paycheck, lacking purpose, lacking growth, and of course not trusting yourself enough to quit and pursue something else, just letting the years go by. Today, I will show you the 3 realizations that I had that made me quit my $250,000 job, what happened to me after I quit, which transformed my life forever, and whether or not you yourself should actually quit your job. Now, for those of you wondering, what was your job and why did you even turn down $250,000 a year? I was a senior software engineering consultant for Fortune 500 companies. I was primarily developing and consulting for them. And it was when I was consulting for Amazon that everything changed and I decided to quit. There I was, in a scrum meeting at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, with the rest of the team starting their day at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You would think that if there's a 3-hour time difference, then I would finish working at 2 p.m. But no, the last meeting in the day for me would usually be at around 5 p.m. But this was natural, I thought. Consulting is known to be quite cutthroat, and the advantage is that I'll learn a lot more. But I soon realized how little it was actually worth it. Fast over to Friday and we have our all hands meeting. I had put in about 70 hours up until this point, and I knew I had to work the weekend as well. The pressure was creeping up, I was taking care of my family, and my take-home amount was not enough to provide my family with the life that I wanted to provide them. And in the midst of all these thoughts, one of the partners on the call gives us the news. We did great this quarter. We are up to 58% profit margin. And I'll never forget this moment because it was the first thing that contributed to me quitting, and that was my role as an employee. I was a form of labor leverage. The company only viewed me as a multiplier, nothing more, nothing less. The fact that I did not get overtime pay confirmed this. I knew had I died the next day, I would have simply gotten replaced by another cog in the machine. And it was only a week later that I had my second realization. There was a significant shift in the entire office atmosphere. Both peers and managers began leaving for better opportunities. So I was being put on more projects. And it seemed that the harder I worked, I would get rewarded with more work? Didn't make sense to me. This led to my second realization. I don't get paid on the amount of work I do, so my inputs, but rather I get paid by the amount of value I provide, my outputs. And in a corporate setting, I will always be paid less than the value I provide, because that is the only way the company can be profitable. The delusion of hard work made me take a retrospective look at my life. I began researching and seeing how can I actually change my reality, and I discovered something very interesting. Did you know that the man who brought us the education system that we know today, the same man said, "I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers." And that man was John D. Rockefeller. This led to my final and third realization. I was playing a losing game. My role was that of a worker, not a thinker. If I wanted to change my reality, I had to become a thinker. I had to create. But why did I exactly become so fixated on creation? Well, my research had led me to the fact that humans are said to be created in the image of God. We are told that God is a creator. In fact, that's the first thing we are told about him. And whether you're religious or not, by understanding this concept, you realize that humans are at the top of the food chain because they always make the impossible possible through creation. And armed with this newfound knowledge, I found my purpose. My journey of creation finally began. But initially, I thought to myself that maybe I shouldn't have quit my job. I remember it as clear as day. It was the first of the month. I was down to $258 in my bank account. The rent was due, and I had to somehow find a way to pay $3,500 in rent. I would always wire the money to my landlord on the first of every month, but I only had $258 in my account, and what was I gonna do? I decided to write a check and mail it. Luckily for me, it was a Friday, meaning the money was not going to leave my account until Monday at the earliest. I bought myself 2 more days to somehow get the money, and I told the landlord, I'm having some technical difficulties with the banking app, so I sent the check instead. And doubt crept up on me. I remember I thought to myself, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe quitting my job was a mistake. Maybe the entrepreneur life is just not for me. And after 28 failed ventures and over $100,000 spent on learning things the hard way, I had finally struck gold. Fast forward to Sunday evening, I closed a client that I was relentlessly reaching out to for 2 months prior for $16,000. Monday came, the money was in my account, and the landlord was happy. I had done it. I had quit my job and managed to rely on myself. And I now had enough trust in myself to know that I can make money on my own without having to work for anybody. And I can do it by creating. Was I close to giving up? Yes. Was it hard? Hell yes. Was it painful? Definitely. Was it worth it? 100%. It didn't get any easier from that day, but at least I had found my purpose. And I was actually working on something that was fun and rewarding for me. And now instead of building a prison, I was building my dream house brick by brick. Now, ask yourself, how much pain and how much stress are you willing to tolerate for a better life? The answer you give will determine if you should quit your job or not. While I believe everybody can be an entrepreneur, not everybody will. But at least you can be an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, right? For those of you who are software engineers especially, you are already probably making enough money to live a comfortable life. And if you have enough saved up for roughly 3 to 6 months of rent and food, I would highly recommend that you take the leap of faith and actually trust yourself. Because you see, as software engineers, the industry standard is already to switch job every 2 years, get a better position with higher pay versus if you just stay at your current firm. This means that there's already a very big problem with the software space as a whole, right from the start. People either believe they cannot grow anymore and it's not worth it to stay at the same company, or the company does not value them as much as they should. Either way, the natural progression for a software engineer is to grow to such an extent that they pursue their own ventures, which you don't have to wait decades for. You can in fact just quit right now and make that a reality. Sure, it will be painful. Sure, it might suck for a bit. Sure, you might doubt yourself and all the decisions you made, but I can guarantee you, much rather you go through the pain now than deal with the fact that you could have been more than you are when you look back at your life 20 years from now. And to quote Alexander the Great, when we give somebody our time, we actually give a portion of our life that we will never take back. How can we actually take Alexander's advice and build our own business to truly escape the 9 to 5? Because knowing this isn't just enough. You need to take action to set yourself free. So you need to watch this video next right here to learn about the crucial steps you need to take if you want to actually change your life. As always, thank you for watching and don't forget to leave a like.